Hi everyone, yasas que kalos irtate to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make Youvarlakia Avgolemono, which basically translates to a Greek-style meatball soup that's finished off in a delicious egg lemon sauce. It's so light and brothy, yet it's a little bit rich from that egg lemon sauce at the very end. If you ever had that Greek lemony chicken soup with orzo and you liked it, you're gonna love this one. It's so comforting and delicious. Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna begin by making the meatballs, and they're so easy to make. I have 2 pounds of ground beef here. To that, I've already finely chopped an onion in my food processor, and then I also finely chopped a handful of fresh parsley. That's gonna go in the meat mixture. With 3/4 cup of rice, you can use your favorite rice in this. I'm just using plain Carolina rice today. I'm also adding 4 garlic cloves that have been grated, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, or you could add however much salt you like, some freshly cracked black pepper. I'll add 1 egg to the side of the bowl, and I'll whisk it together with a fork so that way I'm not dirtying another bowl. A little bit of olive oil, 2 to 3 tablespoons is enough, and then 1/4 teaspoon of dried mint. This is gonna make it nice and fresh. Mix everything all together really well so all of the ingredients are incorporated. Then you're gonna form little meatballs out of this. If you're making them the same size as I am, you're gonna get about 38 meatballs out of this. You can make them smaller, you can make them a little bigger. I wouldn't make them too big because then they start to fall apart in the soup. This is the perfect size, or even a tiny bit smaller would be perfect too. Set the meatballs aside, and then in a pot, we're gonna add 3 quarts of chicken broth or chicken stock. And then we're gonna heat this over medium heat until it's steaming hot. We're gonna carefully add the meatballs to the steaming hot broth, and then we're gonna reduce the heat so that way they're simmering around a medium-low for about 30 minutes, so that way they cook fully. They're gonna fluff up because that rice in there is gonna fluff up and cook, and they're just gonna become soft and tender. While the soup is cooking, we're gonna make the Avgolemono sauce that's gonna go in it and thicken it and flavor it even more. To a little pitcher over here, I'm gonna add 4 egg yolks. We only need the yolks for this. I've juiced lots of lemons, so the recipe calls for 1/2 cup, but I always add more, so I make sure I juice more than I need, and then I'll add a little more if it's needed later on. But we'll start with about 1/2 cup. We'll add that to the eggs, and then 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a little bit of dried dill, about 1/4 teaspoon or so, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Whisk that all up until it's nice and smooth. Then we're gonna take some of that hot broth from the meatball soup, and we're gonna temper this egg yolk mixture, this Avgolemono mixture, so that way when we add it to the pot, it won't curdle. It'll make the soup nice and silky and not like scrambled eggs. So add plenty of broth to the Avgolemono mixture and whisk that all up. Add it into the pot, and you can carefully shake the pot so that way it distributes evenly, but there should be plenty of broth in there, where if you go in with a spoon, you could just carefully mix everything all together without disturbing the meatballs too much. They're gonna be really tender, and if you mess with them a little too much, they can start to crumble and break into the soup, and you want them to hold their shape, so that way it looks really nice too as you eat it. So we're just gonna let this warm through for about 5-10 minutes, and the soup is gonna thicken. It's just gonna look so beautiful, and as it cools, it's gonna thicken even more. But I like this consistency, it's perfect for me. If you like your soup a little bit on the thinner side, you could thin it out with a little bit of broth. At this point, go ahead and give it a taste, and if it needs more seasoning, like salt or lemon juice, you can go in and add it right now. I like to garnish it with some fresh, finely chopped parsley, and that's it. It's ready to serve. Just ladle it up into bowls and just serve it just like that as is, with some toasted bread on the side. So delicious. So that's it. Just like that, the soup is ready. It tastes really good the next day. You could just warm it through right before you serve it over the stovetop. If it got a little bit too thick, you could thin it out with a little bit more chicken broth or even a tiny bit of water. All you need to serve this with is some toasted crunchy bread, and that's it. Time for the taste test. So good. The meatballs are so tender, they're not hard. Some recipes, and I have tried them, once you boil the meatballs in the soup, they become hard and just not good. These are perfect, soft and tender. They melt just when you put the spoon right through them. As you can see, like I'm showing you right here, the sauce is the perfect thickness. Another thing I don't like is really, really thick Avgolemono soup. It just, when it's too starchy, I don't know, it just ruins it for me. But this is the perfect thickness. It's creamy, it's light, it's brothy, and just really, really comforting. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you want to learn how to make lemony chicken soup, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, us.